everyone. Today, I have a special guest for you. But welcome to Coaching with Premier Teaching and Learning Approaches. Today, we have Marcia Alexander, Dr. Marcia Alexander. Hi.
Hello.
And so this is a special guest because many times we have to kind of throw ourselves out there and get ourselves outside of our comfort zone to meet new people. And so Dr. Alexander, she is amazing. And so she grew up in Detroit, Michigan. She is the eldest grandson on both sides of her family, grandchild on both sides of her family. Her daughter, she has a beautiful daughter named 𝐥𝐢𝐤, and Hiram is her son. I hope to get it right. Hopefully I got that right.
That's right.
Yay! Okay, and so she has been educated for over 20 years as a certified curriculum specialist. She's an administrator, an ESL teacher. She does it all, you guys. Dr. Alexander is an active member of the National Society of Leader Success, Sigma Alpha Phi, Honor Society, New Leaders, and Texas Alliance of Black School Educators. She is known for building her capacity for teachers and increasing student achievement by implementing various teaching methodologies to support all levels of learners. So welcome.
Thank you, Cassandra. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yes, no, we love to have you. I'm so glad you were able to do this. So tell us more about yourself.
Well, let's see. Okay, so I started teaching in Detroit. My first year was in Detroit. And then I got married, moved to the Carolinas, and I was working in for Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools for approximately 13, 14 years. And in that role, I was a leader. I was still a classroom teacher, but I was department chair, lead teacher, and served on the school improvement team. And then I went to another neighboring school district there in North Carolina just for a change, just to get a change. And then I moved to Texas because Texas was coming to the Carolinas looking for teachers. And the opportunity was there. The money was better. And so I was working in Dallas for 1 year, and then I went to Arlington for a couple of years, actually 3. And now I'm in Fort Worth as an instructional coach. This is actually my 2nd year serving as an instructional coach. However, I've been a leader in the field without having that title leader. I've been that leader serving as a mentor to teachers pretty much since I've been in the field of education.
Wow, that is amazing. So I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm pumped. So here is Dr. Alexander with Promoting Literacy.
Thank you, Cassandra. So I chose literacy because it's something that our students struggle with, and it's so important. We have a lot of students who are graduating high school who are still reading at a very low level. And so I chose promoting literacy, and I'm going to go to my next slide here. And what I'm doing, what I have here for you is nothing new. I'm just sharing a resource. And I think that as a classroom teacher, it is so important to just have resources at your hand that you can supplement the current curriculum with, and nothing hard. And so the resource that I'm sharing with you today is CommonLit. It's free. All you have to do is go online and sign up, and you create your classes, and it's for grades 3 through 12. So some of the features that CommonLit offer, you have a variety of short stories and poems, historical documents. You can, for those school districts who are opening up, you can print out copies for your students, or you can do it digitally. So you don't have to necessarily have to be face-to-face. And the beauty of it is that you can differentiate. So you can have the same reading excerpt and tailor it for different lexicals. There's formative assessments with it as well. They have a program for struggling readers where you can do some read alouds, and they translate different languages, and there's a guiding reading mode as well. You can print out as a classroom teacher data reports that will help you know who your high flyers are and who your kids who are struggling, so you can do some remediation and or some extended learning.
No, this is wonderful. I mean, yeah. I'm thinking about just all the, and you said it's free?
It's free.
Oh my God, now here, you guys download this free stuff. And just the fact that you can, I mean, because I think when we were in COVID, everybody was at a scramble for resources. And so many teachers were kind of pulling things, and some of our kids didn't have access to internet. So these packets are really good to insert in a curriculum or make it the curriculum. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, thank you. You're welcome. And so what I'm going to do is I am actually going to click on the link and just let the viewers see, you know, what the features are.
So, oh, wow, this is really nice. What are we looking at here?
Okay, so what you have here, this is the home page on CommonLit. And you can see up here you have, I'm just going to click on, you have a library where you can browse by content, by unit, you can do it by genre, grade level, you can do text sets, themes, and then you also have the option of Spanish text as well. Right here is a tab where you create your classes. And I know when I use CommonLit, I would just go in and it was easier for me to just do it by period 1, period 2. And that was an easy way for me to manage my classes. And then you have your little tabs right here where you can browse content, themes, units, and favorites. You can actually click on these favorites, and you can, once you actually set it up, and you can go back to your favorites. And so right here, you know, you have your little arrows where you have the text and the themes, and you can do book pairings where if you wanted to, you had a poem and a text with the same theme, you can pair those together. Back over here, you have your different grade levels. So I'm going to just go ahead and click on 9th grade, just as a demonstration. And let's see.
This is a lot. I would get overwhelmed by all this. So I'm wondering, you know, how many teachers are really using the full benefit of this resource?
You know what? It can be overwhelming, but if you have something specific, and I can only speak on how I've used it. So I know nonfiction is something that students pretty much all over struggle with. And I think one of the reasons for that is because within nonfiction, you have so many other different skills that you're applying that with. And I think if you look at it from a skill standpoint, and we can say standards as well, you're going to summarize any and every genre, whether it's a poem, it's a historical document, or a text. Summarizing is something that all students do. One of the biggest problems that I've seen in Detroit, Texas, and in North Carolina is students struggle with making inferences. And so whether it's subtle or complex. And so if you're pairing text and you're steady honing in on specific skills, making inferences and summarizing, that's good reading comprehension, because the students can, they're actually using ancillaries such as graphic organizers to help process their thinking. And so when I'm looking at nonfiction, I compare, let's just say I'm looking right here at Dr. King, I Have a Dream. So when I click on it, I can assign a text to all the students. I can download it if I want to make copies of it. Here you have the read aloud or translate. That's to help your struggling students. And then you can go also and see the different lexicons. So you can tailor it for different students, and that's a way of differentiating. Here you have your guiding questions, your assessment questions, and the beauty of the program is you don't have to, as a classroom teacher, you don't have to grade anything because there's a guide for you. There's a grading scale for your open-ended questions. You can give it a number, like let's say 0 to 4, and then you can also provide feedback too. So you have to, go ahead, Cassandra.
No, this is amazing. Oh, Mike, where was this when we were teachers back in the day? Like, if I had all these resources, just access to your, at your fingertips, and like, I'm thinking I can really create a whole themed unit off of just this one lesson and extend it.
Yes, for sure, for sure. It's a great resource. Better than the textbook as far as I'm concerned. It really is. And then I just clicked on paired text. Here you have where you can create your own library, and you can favorite it because they're giving you other readings that goes along with the one that I originally clicked on.
I have a question. What were the number, if you go back to text, what were the number ones, the 2, the 3 in the paragraph? When you scroll down, I saw like numbers right there. What are those for? Wow. They're actually giving definition and making references to the content that students may not understand at that lexile.
Exactly. Making it easy. Making it easy. Here you have language, and they're actually defining it for the students.
Oh my goodness. Okay, sorry, I'm getting really geeked out with literacy. So yes.
Yes.
Nice.
Already embedded in there.
Okay.
So I'm going to go out here, and I just wanted to click on that just to show some of the different features there. You even have your teacher guide. Okay, but there is a guide, and parents can actually go on here and help their students as well. So parents can actually learn stuff from this.
Yes.
I think it's great. I do. I highly, highly, highly recommend this.
So all your teachers at your school are actually using this, correct?
No. Some of them may be using it. Now, as an instructional coach, this past year, I supported social studies. And so some of the teachers already had their own programs that they was comfortable with. And then we went to, we never did go back after spring break because of COVID. And so CommonLit was not something that I introduced to them. But that's not to say that the English teachers were not using it.
Okay.
But as you can see, it supports English and social studies.
Yep.
It promotes reading across the board.
Yes. Keep thinking of where was this stuff 10 years ago when we were struggling.
We should start using CommonLit. It's been a minute. It's been a minute because we was using, at that point, we had classroom, Castle Learning, which was very similar because you also had your, you can go down and you can look at the curriculum, and they had standards that was tied to, at that time, North Carolina standards. So it was like a quick click on, this is what I'm doing with my students now, click, 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 and you can actually group them. You can do some differentiation, moving them around where they're working on different things. You can even do some stations if you like. So I'm not sure if they're still using Castle Learning, but it was great.
Mm-hmm.
But CommonLit can be used in that same way.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you said you organize your classroom by just grade levels?
Well, so not grade level. What I would do is I had my students, I knew what kind of learners my students was by, I would say, by the end of that second week of school, the beginning of school, I knew who was sitting in my classrooms. And so from there, I knew how to tailor my instruction to meet the needs of all of my students. And when it came to reading, I like to mix it up a little bit. I would do some group readings, small groups. Then I would do some, have students pair up. They would do projects, individual work. So there was no, there was no one set way of how I did it. I just incorporated CommonLit into everything else that I was doing. But I like the program, and the kids like it because they're on the computers and they didn't necessarily have to flip pages. They can just click. The only thing with that was I had to make sure that I was very visible, walking around, making sure that they was doing what they were supposed to be doing and not playing games.
I definitely think that's all of our kids. But yeah, you can do things by lexile, genre, themes. This has so much to offer. And like you said, we could print it out.
Yes, you can print it out. And I'm a paper girl, so I like to write on my stuff. I like to write on it. Mm-hmm. And you can also, let me go right here. Just click on this real quick, skill lesson. You could change the font on it. Let me go into, let's look at the guiding questions. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I just clicked on the little arrow of a guided instruction and this popped up. So this is a little video to show a classroom teacher how to differentiate instruction with guided reading. So I think this is pretty cool right here. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of different things that teachers can do with this where it takes the load off of trying to find something when it's already there. It's just a matter of taking a tour through the program to get comfortable with it.
Yes, this is really nice. I mean, I can do all type of thing. Like you said, small group, whole group. You can jigsaw, you can, create reading literature circles. I mean,
yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. You can do it all right here, and that's why I love it. And that's why I think it's a really good resource that I wanted to share, because teachers may or may not have heard of CommonLit.org, but if they're looking at this, they can see the benefits on how you can, I always like to say, you can work smarter and not harder and still get the most out of your kids.
So I often wonder, this is kind of funny because I remember a school in Texas, they were trying to figure out how do we reach our students, and so they did a survey and found out most of their parents are on Instagram. So they were sending out content on Instagram, and it kind of blows my mind that I'm looking at the top and I see you can email the content, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. Yep. And so, I mean, it changes just our whole perception of what education is, what it looks like what it looks like and what it might be in the future.
Yes, yes, yes. And you know what, Cassandra, I also think that with COVID and school districts still trying to figure out how are they going to open schools, I think online resources is great to have, and I think a lot of educators now are trying to think about, okay, well, as a classroom teacher, what I was using these past few months towards the end of school it worked, it may not work, and they're thinking like, okay, well, what am I going to do? If I had to do virtual for the next school year all the way around, what programs am I going to use that's going to support all of my students? Just trying to figure out how are they going to set their classroom up to meet the needs of all the students. And my concern is the students who really have special needs. How are those students really going to be supported?
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's going to take a lot of creative teachers to, you know, just make those supports meet the needs of each child.
Yes.
So.
And the checkpoints. Who's checking? Who's checking?
Yeah. Oh, that's the other story.
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So this has been really mind-blowing. I am literally gonna go and log in and get my free account so I can start accessing this content just for my kids.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It is.
Yeah.
But there is, when I've used this, normally when you assign a text, you can also print out the test as well, because after each excerpt, there's questions, normally 4 to 5, and maybe one of those is a discussion question, and there's an answer key that follows.
Thank God for answer key.
Oh, yes, yes. Sometimes as a class, you'd be like, okay, where's the answer key? I'm not sure if this is the answer, this is the answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope that this was a resource that teachers will take advantage of.
Thank you, Dr. Alexander, for showing us this. And everybody out there, make sure you follow Dr. Alexander. She has amazing tips and strategies for you. And remember, I guess now every time I think of CommonLit, I'm going to always think of her. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much for sharing.
You are welcome. You are welcome. Thanks, Cassandra.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.